with liberty and justice for all. And Mayor Evangeline would like you to all please remain standing.
We remember some of the soldiers and people in the Navy and Army that have passed and are still alive till this day.
We have a moment of silence.
Thank you. You could be seated.
Go back to your family, although I believe Evangeline is going to be here helping me quite a bit at Village Hall, because I'm now kind of used to having her around and we get things done together, so I think we're going to be doing a lot of things together, right? Yeah. This is probably one of the highlights of being a mayor, is recognizing community service recipients. And the Andrew C. Haggerty Award, as you all know, is in memory of Andrew Haggerty, who was a longtime trustee and mayor here in the Village of Suffern. And Andy was all about community service and giving back to the community, and also instilling that in the young people of the community to give back. And he was all about that. He was so involved in so many different things. I've been mayor for the past almost 2 years now, and every event that I go to that the police department or fire department or any community service event that I go to, there's one young man who just keeps popping up and comes in very quietly, never wants a pat on the back, never a thank you, is just always just there. I mean, it's just like you can depend on that this guy is just going to be there. And he works a lot with Clerk Osborne, so I'm going to let Clerk say a few words about him, but I'm going to ask him to come up. And I wanted to recognize you tonight, Sam, because you're just an outstanding guy, and we should have more youth like you who get so involved in the community and care so much about it. And I'd like you to come up, Sam Myers.
You can stand right up front, young man. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Evangeline. Sam is one of our part-time dispatchers here in the village. And I met Sam many years ago when he was a student up in our elementary school as a staff officer. And Sam volunteers just about every possible thing we do here in the village. He is a Little League he's an umpire for the Suffern Little League. He coaches their hockey for us. He referees their hockey for us. Ambulance Corps volunteer. Every time we have an event, we had 2 major events. We sold thousands and thousands of T-shirts to raise money for officers who were killed on line of duty. Once again, who came to volunteer? Sam. Every time. Every event we have here, I have several officers here tonight, and dispatchers and records clerks who are here to honor Sam with me. And we just really appreciate all you do for us. On top of that, he's a great dispatcher. On top of all the other things that he does, his job he does a very good job at. So, Mayor, I think you chose in board. This is a great choice. I couldn't think of a better person to give this award to tonight than Sam Myers. You know his family, longtime village residents, and we really appreciate all you do for us, Sam. So congratulations on behalf of all of us.
Okay, Sam, we're going to give you this certificate, the Andrew C. Haggerty Outstanding Service Award, presented to Sam Myers, and your name will also go on a plaque in the hall of Village Hall that will be there forever. And I know Mr. Haggerty would have been very proud of what you do here in the village. And I'm going to have Evangeline give you this. It's a little token of our appreciation. We have a new, very excited to announce, we have a new restaurant coming into the downtown area called the Ice Factory. It will be opening soon. I don't have a date for you yet, but he's already donated a gift certificate for you to go down and enjoy. I believe it's lots of delicious desserts and good stuff. So, Evangeline, if you can give that to Sam, and we thank the Ice Factory and Sam for all that you do here in the village. Thank you. keeping you all. Our workshop ran a little bit longer than anticipated. The first item on the agenda is to set the dates for the July meetings. Workshop is Wednesday, July 1st, and the board meeting will be Monday, July 6th. Board, I just had a couple of residents come up to me concerned about the fact that July 4th apparently falls on the weekend, and would we get good attendance? A lot of people are going to be away for that weekend. I will be here, but I'm always concerned that the residents attend.
For the Monday meeting or for the workshop or both?
I think both.
Okay.
So I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on that.
You want to do them both the 13th?
That's fine with me. However,
Both the same night, or we could
do them both on the 13th. Bob is saying both on the 13th.
That would be fine.
That's what Bob's saying, is combine them both.
Started in time, not do a separate workshop.
Yeah, that's what he's saying, both on the 13th,
Okay.
right? Does the board have a problem with that, or does anybody, no? It's good for everyone?
Good for you, Ed?
Ed?
Yes.
Good? Frank?
I guess so.
July 13th? No,
That's what the village wants, that's what it is.
well, I just think people are concerned that they can't make it.
I work for the village.
Okay. Bob?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So then the village workshop and board meeting will both be on July 13th, beginning at 7 p.m. Workshop 7 and board meeting at 7:30. Okay. Fire department chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Village Board. Just a couple items that we'd like to bring up to you guys. July 19th, the Volunteer Hose Company would like to have their annual car show. And also the members of the department voted on several parades to go to this year, which include the Stony Point Parade, July 11th, Ossining, August 7th, and the County Parade, which is in Garnerville this year. It's September 19th.
Yes. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Separately or all?
Or you could do them all together unless somebody has an objection. Okay. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Mayor, that's it for me, but if you don't mind, I'd like to be excused to go to the hose company meeting tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chief Salmon. Next item is Culture and Recreation. Kathy Mills. Larry and Topper, could you close the windows on the side? I just put the air conditioning on. Can you close the side windows for us? Or Scott, somebody? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Village Board. I'm doing double duty tonight. Elaine is not feeling well, so I'll get the camera. I'll be back and forth for a little bit. A few things on the item on the agenda this evening. We have pool registration. We'll be starting tomorrow night. It'll be revalidation. And then if anyone has not received a village calendar, they're up front. All the dates for pool registration and swim lessons registrations is in the calendar. We have auditions for Clifford Summer Theater starting tomorrow night. So it will be June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then on Sunday the 7th, here in Village Hall in the auditorium. The Recreation Board meeting is on June 11th, next Thursday, at 7 p.m. in the community room. I believe that says community center, my apologies. So it's community room. The lead outdoor concert with the Suffern High School students will be on Friday, June 12th, and that's at 5 to 9 p.m. over at the gazebo. It's an outdoor event. All are invited. It's a very nice event. We have the fishing derby coming up on Saturday, June 13th at Boxwood Pond, and it begins, registration starts at 8:30. Fishing starts at 9:30 to 11, and then there will be a barbecue afterwards at the Mawa Elks, and it's a free event. Summer concert series starts on Wednesday, June 17th, and that is the band Magic Touch. It will begin at 7 p.m. All concerts for the summer are rain or shine, so it's either outside at the gazebo or inside the community center. We have a court of honor for an Eagle Scout on Saturday, June 20th at the community center from 11 to 3. We have Artie Time, the seniors art class, 2 dates in June, June 4th and the 18th at the community center at 11:30. We've got the Dare Pool Party on Monday, June 22nd from 4:30 to 7:30 with Chief. And then the pool officially opens for the summer on Tuesday, June 23rd. That first week it will be open from 2 to 8 to accommodate kids that have the half-day school. So it will be open from 2 to 8. And then I'm inviting you, if you could please attend the meet and greet with the lifeguards. It will give you an opportunity to meet the guards that we're bringing on board for 2015. And that will be Saturday, June 27th at 10 a.m. at the pool. And then the last item I have for tonight, discussion is to request permission to bring 2 maintenance workers on board for the summer. Both of these individuals have been approved by Rockland County, and that would be a rate of $10 per hour. And the schedule they will do is 4 days on, 3 days off, and then they would rotate, so we would have 7 days coverage at the pool. The water department in the past has covered that, but this would be a much more economical way to do that. The last 2 or 3 summers, we've had somebody working at the pool in this regard. The 2 names that we have are Oliver Kronk and Greg Schnitker, are 2 individuals.
Kathy, these are budgeted for?
Yes, maintenance is budgeted in that, yes.
I would make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Okay. And as I had mentioned in the workshop, there's a request for use of the field across from Leo Leiden this Thursday from the timing before I got an email since would be 5 to 7 this Thursday. So just would like to request that.
Right, and that would be subject to the village attorney being satisfied with a certificate of insurance.
I'll make the motion subject to approval of the village attorney.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kathy. Fred Rella, our grant writer.
Good evening, Board. This past month, the police department was awarded $13,000 with the assistance of Assemblywoman Ellen Jaffe. That was $10,000 for new computers and an additional $3,000 for the DARE program. That brings the DARE award up to $9,000 for the year that they've been able to acquire. Also working with Senator Carlucci on some capital projects which are very significant to the village. The first one is the rejuvenation here of Village Hall. This building was built in 1912 and was the original high school. Then the village purchased it in 1981, which was about 35 years ago, and it needs some substantial renovation at this point in time. It needs a new HVAC system. It needs a new cornice around the building. It needs some new windows, some new doors, and also some lead and asbestos abatement. And the total cost for that is $825,000. Also working to get Lot B to have that rejuvenated into a new and an environmental friendly lot. That's the lot which is right across from the post office. So it's the largest parking lot that we basically have. And by environmentally friendly, we mean it would have an asphalt which is permeable such that it would help prevent flooding and puddling of water. We would have environmentally efficient, energy efficient lighting, and we would have trees planted in strategic areas to help with erosion and preventing, because there's also the hill slope there where the train tracks are. The third of the fourth and that was $775,000. The third of the fourth project is sanitary sewer abatements. This is $1.9 million. This is from a consent order with the New York DEC. It's something that we have to do. And basically this is checking the sewer system for any leakage or any repair work that needs to be done. because it does tax, if it's not running efficiently, our wastewater treatment plant. Okay? And lastly, we do have the wastewater treatment plant upgrades which need to be done, and that's $3.3 million. So once again, I'm working with Senator Carlucci on this. The total amount of these 4 projects is $6.8 million. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No, I think we should bring it up and then we can. Thank you, Fred. Village Attorney.
Thank you. We talked about a number of things during the workshop. The only thing that would require board action if you wanted to proceed at this point was the VFW. As we discussed, I received notice that the Attorney General has approved the transfer as is required since they're a not-for-profit. And we need to do a couple of things. One, order title, and two is to get an appraisal of the property. I do have an appraisal for $1,700 to value the property, as well as the consideration of the lease back from, give you the name of the company in 1 second, from Alliance Appraisal Services in New City. You can go with this, or you can ask me to get a couple other additional quotes, should you so desire.
Okay. Board?
What do you need from the board?
We need a motion to either,
We need if you want to go ahead with these guys,
Right.
you need a motion. If you want me to get a couple other quotes, then just tell me to do so, and we'll bring this up at the next meeting.
Is the VFW happy with this appraisal?
No.
It's got nothing to do with the VFW. We have a contract price for $150,000, but because we're a municipal corporation, we have to have in the file to justify that we're not paying too much an appraisal that shows that the fair market value of the property that we're purchasing is at least what we're buying it for. So this is merely for that purpose.
Do we have an accurate appraisal that we can compare to, or the value of the property?
That's why we're doing this.
Okay, but is there one out there now?
No.
No.
I would need a motion from the board.
Just to clarify on my end that I'm precluded from making the motion and seconding because of my firm's representation of the VFW at this time.
I make a motion to employ Alliance appraisers.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? I'm sorry, Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Bernal?
Abstain.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. Thank you. Also, we have made significant headway with United Water. We expect to be talking with them in the next week or two. There was some concern with the DEC, both here in New York State and New Jersey. It seems like all of the New York entities are pretty much on board with the sale of the water, but had suggested that we also, United Water should also check with the DEC in New Jersey, which they will be doing next week. But we have definitely made very significant progress, and I believe we will be having some very good news within the next few weeks with an agreement with United Water. So just a quick update on that. Police Department, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor Board. I just have some informational items. I have nothing to vote on. Nice and simple. And thank you again for giving that award to Sam. You're well deserving. Great choice, Sam. Just some informational items. We had a commercial vehicle check, our first one of the year. We had it a few weeks ago. Very successful. We made a bunch of arrests, took a lot of vehicles off the road, a lot of safety violations. We'll be doing another one this month as well, into June, a few more weeks. It went excellent. We had the assistance of the Piermont Police Department. They have what they call a level 1 inspector, which is a top inspector. Checked the trucks, and the Rockland County Sheriff's Department sent us a few over. So a very good detail with the New York State DOT. This Saturday, we have a big event. We have our PBA sponsoring the Vincent Crotty Memorial Barbecue Wing Night. We usually have a great attendance, and that'll be at the Marble Elks from 5 to 9 p.m. Our officers run that. Today, Charles and I went over to Orange Ave. We were just talking about it earlier today. When it seems to, we seem to get heavy rain again, Orange Ave near the Thornton Bridge is flooding again. We called in probably, Charles, maybe three years ago, maybe? We had the state come in? 3 years ago, we met with the state. We had a lot of meetings. And they actually redid the drainage underneath the ground, and the Thruway Authority fixed the drains on the Thruway so the water wouldn't run down. But for some reason, the last couple of storms, particularly today, it was really flooded. We barely got a car through. We were working with DPW to secure the road. So we're gonna reach out to them again to find out what happened. I know it was heavy rain, but it hasn't happened like that in a while. So, and that's a serious issue because that's our main corridor for people coming from Orange County, Sloatsburg, Hilburn, through the village in and out. So, particularly emergency vehicles. We have their hockey playoffs all next week. We have games Wednesday and Friday this week. Want to stop up? We had a great season. We actually made an arrest. We made several arrests during the month, but the one I want to mention is we made an arrest for larceny, possession of stolen property out of car larceny out of Bon Air. We have a second arrest pending. We are definitely going to make a second arrest. We are just finishing up some details. We had 2 vehicles broken into Bon Air, and we were fortunate to do a nice break in the case where we charged one person with the proceeds, and we have a second one that we'll be charging as well. So on top of that, radar trailer, I try to move it around every week. Right now it's in Ramapo Ave. I'm going to stick it up on Woodland Drive next to show people the speed, hopefully slow them down. Also, just a couple of things we work on. What we do every day, just to explain, is something called what we call a selective enforcement. That means officers take certain areas that are problem areas we get complaints on, we have accidents at, and the sergeants assign them. And what we've been working on this particular month, we hit hard. Washington Ave for cell phone usage. People driving, talking to cell phones. Wayne Ave, speed control. Lafayette Ave crosswalks went very well. Woodland Drive radar, Cypress Road by the school. We've been hitting the stop sign there. And I just want to thank you guys because that crossing guard is working out excellent. Mike Corlett is doing a great job in the morning getting the kids across. And that's all I have. Just informational items. I'll be here for the rest of the meeting. And thank you for the support.
I've seen you out there. I've seen the enforcement out there. I've seen the speed trailers, and they're doing a great job.
Thanks a lot, Ed. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, at this time we'll have audience participation. If you'd like to speak, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Thank you. I have a gentleman here, and then you can go, Mr. Go.
For this one, we want grants?
Sure. Thank you.
My name is Joe Maraglino. I live at 65 Wayne Avenue here in the Village of Suffern. And on May the 15th of this year, our Wayne Avenue family suffered a tragedy. A woman got struck by a car. Her name is Claire Morschke. She was my babysitter. I saw her moments before the car struck her. Thank God I didn't see the car hit her. Unfortunately, when she got to Westchester County Medical Center, she passed away. The pictures in front of you, Patricia, is about Wayne Avenue and how maybe we can improve it. It all comes down to, I marked them in the back, 1 through 25. I'm sorry, just 25. But I'm trying
No, that's okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I have to tell you, we share your devastation. Claire was just such a wonderful part of our community and such a gentle soul, and I knew her for many, many years, and the smile that she brought to this village was just something that I'll personally miss very, very much. I would like to tell you, though, the good news is that in September, Wayne Avenue is going to be paved.
Good. Okay.
So I've been fighting quite a long time for that, and in addition to Orange Avenue. So I finally won the battle with the state, and they're coming in to pave both in September.
Great.
So that's the first good news.
Yes, it is. That definitely would help us. That's a piece of the puzzle.
Yes, that's a piece.
And,
but I know that there's sidewalk issues there, and I know that there's brush issues there. We are presently looking into all of that.
Okay.
And, as soon as we obviously have to have the road done first.
Yeah.
And then we will work on the rest of, trying to get that area fixed up a little bit. But I know exactly. I've walked it with our DPW supervisor when we had the geyser.
Oh, yeah.
And we're very, very much aware of the conditions there. So,
you definitely mentioned a lot of what I've taken pictures about.
Yeah.
Especially the overgrowth in picture 1. This is the wing wall of Wayne Avenue and the New York State Thruway Authority.
Yes.
The overgrowth goes on top of the sidewalks. People get discouraged, like in picture 2. If you got to walk down the west side on the north side of the street, well, you got to bump into a lot of foliage. Yes. So we got to ask them. A couple of years ago, I seen that they did cut back on the foliage or whatever's hanging over there. That was about 3 years ago. They got to kind of stay on top of these.
They get to it, but like we're on this list that's like this long, so it's like when they get to us. But we do send letters in. Mr. Hunt keeps very much on top of it. He's very much aware. And it even comes to sometimes that we have to actually kind of go in there and do it ourselves because it's a safety issue.
Yes, it is.
So when it becomes a safety issue, we try to go in and do what we can, but we really shouldn't be. And, that's my gripe with the state, is that we shouldn't be. It's like the potholes. We shouldn't be, but how do we let our residents' safety, So we do, but, they really should be more on top of these things, but.
Right. Yeah, like you said, it's a safety issue, and if it obstructs the sidewalk, they're walking into the street. Then you see sidewalks that are there, and then all of a sudden they end, like in picture number 3. It starts and stops. In front of where Rosemary lives, where Claire was too, in front of the house there's no sidewalk whatsoever. And I know it's a kind of a tight area, but when they walk down their hill, they're walking right into the street. And that's a pretty big hazard, It's funny, the things that I was walking around taking pictures of, you don't realize how
until
dangerous.
You start really looking.
Yeah.
You pass by it every day and you go, wow, I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah. You point out a lot of things. The one thing we're trying to fight for, I'm glad they're repaving the road. I'm glad you notice a lot of things I've taken pictures of. We're trying to get some crosswalks. If the signage could be there and we could warn people, because a lot of people will dance across the street simply because there's no sidewalk to walk on. They don't feel safe. All of a sudden you see them running. It looks like a deer crossing, If they feel safe, they'll stay on the sidewalk and stay on their side of the street and walk down.
It's something to consider. I'll definitely have the chief and I'll go out there and take a look if there's any feasibility to a crosswalk. Because in that stretch, you're right.
Especially in that stretch, yes, absolutely.
And there's a lot, and it's funny that you say that because Chief and I stood out there for hours, and the time period happened to be where the children got off the bus for school. And there really is no crosswalk, and it's just a straight run there. So it might be something to consider and think about.
Yeah, it's a straight run. And like I said, even if there was some sort of signage, I work for the Thruway Authority. My job is to put up signs. A lot of people don't pay attention to them. However, I appreciate that. If they see it, it's a warning ahead of time.
No, I agree.
Like Chief Osborne mentioned about the speed limits, he does a great job. I see these police officers nailing people left and right on Wayne Avenue. Believe me, he can finance the building when he pull over all these people. But at the same time, on Wayne Avenue, if you're coming from Pavilion Road and you say you made a right, there's a double lane there, okay?
Yes.
We're trying to get that as a single lane because these people are flying down there. They're passing each other, cutting each other off. It's going to be, God forbid, I don't want to see this no more. It was horrific. We don't need another accident on Wayne Avenue. It doesn't need to take somebody's life in order to get something done,
Thank you. I appreciate you coming to talk to us.
If you, like I said, keep those pictures.
We will.
As you go further down in the pictures, it does specify which sidewalks are the worst. I'm sure you've seen it, especially next to the antique store. Going westbound towards Orange Avenue, there's a sidewalk. It looks like it's a trail for a horse. I mean, this is infrastructure. We need quality of life dealt with here,
One picture.
So, That was it. Oh, also, Chief, I didn't know, if this does come down to the Department of Transportation helping us out, if you guys could be a bridge for us to talk to them, outside of the paving, with the signage, with pedestrian crossing, with the single lane. Also, like sometimes, like he said, there's signs that are speed limit signs that light up. They're radar detected. We have them on the thruway too. They light up if you're going past that specified speed limit, and it'll light up saying, hey, you're going too fast. Right. Well, people will react to that. They're like, hey, that's a radar. I got to slow down. Believe me, you'll see an impact. I know the speed limit there is 30 miles per hour. I've seen it. I took a picture of it. So there's a lot of different pictures, and I learned a lot about my own street. I love Suffern to live in. I just want to see a safer neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood with a lot of good people. We just don't want to see any more accidents take place. And if you could help us,
absolutely,
we'd really appreciate it. Other than that, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out. We're going to see if we can get the DOT to
Mayor and Council, good evening. My name is Dan LaParco. I live at 5 Foxwood Avenue.
Can you just get closer to the microphone? I just can't. Dan LaParco, yeah.
Hi.
Good.
Good evening. I'm Dan LaParco. I live at 5 Foxwood Avenue. I usually don't attend these meetings. It seems to be the same people here all the time. I'm not one of them. I come when I have a reason to be here. I got my tax bill today. I know you think this is behind us, but it's not. You think our problems are over, but they're not. They're just beginning. My taxes are now $3,657.15. Back in 2010, they were $2,254.60. I'm not going to do the increase, but it's basically $1,000, let's say. So without taking into account the town or the school tax yet, I'm at $12,300 right now. So if I take that and divide that into a monthly nut, if you will, I'm starting to get around a rental unit for myself. So what's happening is you're taking the property values and you're pushing them down and basically taking our value away from us. I don't see the sense in owning a home. If I'm paying this kind of money, I might as well go rent somewhere and leave whenever I want to leave. If I don't like my neighbor, if I don't like my community, or someone doesn't like me, whatever the case may be. But I sort of have like a ball and a chain on my ankle. And it's making it difficult for me to make my home attractive as an investor. I don't know if I would want to purchase a home like that, unless, of course, I got a deal on it. And when you get a deal on it and you look at what the house sold for, that's not necessarily what the tax assessor has the house listed as, or what it had previously sold for. Then I find that is happening. I have to drill into this a little more, but there's more to this than meets the eye here. But the fact is that I've yet to see the full tax burden to me as an individual company, if you will. It's basically what I am is a small unit generating an income and paying taxes. Again, I'm giving you a warning that the situation is dire. You have to make you're going to have to make some serious cuts here in the village to survive, because you're not going to make the next 5 years. There's no way that you can sustain this. It just continues to go up and up and up. And quite honestly, demographically, we're all getting older. People are going south. It's property values down south are rising. New York is stagnant. So people are having a very tough time. I know no one wants to hear this, but that's the reality of it. It is what it is. Unfortunately, right now, I have to live with this, but I'm just reporting to you maybe what the pulse is registering out on the street that don't come to these meetings. We see the same people here all the time. That doesn't do any good. It's like a habit. Habits are hard to break. So we have to break this habit. I mean, there's nothing I can do. I'm sort of like I am at the mercy of the village. The only thing I can do is pick up and just move and let the next sucker move into the village and let them carry the load. Because quite frankly, I could do other things with my money, such as have a quality of life. That's what I'd like to have, a quality of life. And that is slowly going away. Fortunately, I make a good living. I can make even more, but I make a good living. What about the people that don't? What about the senior on a fixed income, someone on disability? How about this child that was here before, this innocent young girl, proud to stand here and accept her award and speak? That was beautiful. But what good are we doing to children when we continue on this pace of destruction? And that's what it is, financial destruction. I can't say anything else about it. Well, I'm telling you, it's happening. Take it for what it's worth. It's coming from me. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just telling you, you're approaching the rental level in the tax base. So why am I even owning a home? And there are a couple of vacant homes in our neighborhood now. One had been sitting across the street from me for, I think, 2 years or more. It's got about 2 feet of water in the basement. Good thing the guys from the water department came up and turned it off. At least saved the structure in some part. But we have to address these issues. And we got to get serious about making some cuts. That's what we got to do. You want to get serious about this? I'm a taxpayer. You work for me. I want some cuts. That's what we need. We need some cuts. It's going to be tough, but we got to do it. Cuts, buyouts, retirements, whatever it is, we need to do it. Because we have to save the village if that's what you want. If you don't want it, just keep going the way you're going. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. LaFarca.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Abato and members of the Trustees of the Suffern. I was just listening to the gentleman before me, and I just got my tax bill today, so I agree with a lot of the things, but I'm here on a slightly different topic. I was here last year. I left a packet in each one of your mailboxes to acquaint you with the issues. This is the issue of Yorkshire Drive. I had a flyer, Let's Make Yorkshire Drive Safe Again. I reprinted an article in the Rockland County Times. And that's what happened here. And you also have a study made of Yorkshire Drive by Frederick C. Clark Associates. Basically, what this study said, they did it during the daytime, is Yorkshire is a main street with streets feeding into it. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of traffic coming from New Jersey, from Cragmere, and going down to the end of Yorkshire, and then they may be working at Avon, they may be working at the hospital. I just want to quote the beginning of the article from the Rockland County Times. I think the Village of Suffern needs to revisit their decision about not marking a central line on Yorkshire Drive, especially since the person responsible for this decision no longer holds office in the village. The village was advised to mark the center lane on the pavement of Yorkshire Drive. The village voted to do so and then completely reversed their decision This could be a deadly and costly mistake for the village. I want to describe my description of Yorkshire Drive. Yorkshire Drive is a dimly lit, this is at night, winding elevated road with no markings whatsoever for the motorists. I'm here the second time for one reason only, for the safety of the motorists using streets in Suffern. I think Suffern has been extremely lucky, and I consider this an accident waiting to happen. And I hope it doesn't, but it may. And then there would be a big negligence case hanging over the village. Finally, all the other streets nearby have double lines. Parkside, Duxbury, Maplewood. I can include Campbell, Brookside, and Craigmere. They're all main streets, they all have double drive. Why should Yorkshire suddenly have, up to the intersection of Duxbury and Parkside, have no line at all? And I want to finish with this from the Village of Suffern, like all other villages in Rampo, is having financial problems. A major lawsuit against the village because of a head-on collision caused by drivers not being able to identify the center of Yorkshire Drive because of no center line pavement markings on the Yorkshire Drive would cost more than the paint and labor needed to mark this road pavement, similar to surrounding roadways. I urge the board to reconsider their decision, put double line on the entire length of Yorkshire Drive for the safety of all the motorists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Debbie Tapp. I live over on Oakdale Manor. I wrote it out, so. Okay, we just had Memorial Day, and it was kind of sad looking around the village. We have Memorial Park, we have Memorial Drive, we have no flags. Memorial Day weekend, no flags. I understand we have budget issues, but how much does a flag cost? We also have garbage. Memorial Day weekend was a parade weekend. We had company coming. When you have company coming, you clean your house. The garbage cans on Friday night, Saturday morning, they were overflowing in the village. Just looking at where the parade took its route, they were overflowing. By the time the parade went through and the visitors coming to see it, I'm promoting everything that we do in the village. I'm really pushing that people from outside of Suffern, that we don't just have 50 people coming to activities. I'm really pushing. And we're a mess. What does it take to pick up garbage? I understand that we have budget issues. I understand all of this. But when we have company coming, we need to clean up first. We have 4th of July coming within a month. We're going to have a board meeting after and a workshop before. Are we going to be a mess that weekend too? Are we going to have flags that weekend?
Unfortunately, Debbie, as far as the garbage pickup in the downtown area on the weekends, since the Department of Public Works overtime budget has been cut significantly, we have to put safety first, and that would be our snow season and ice, salting and plowing, and there's no way we can know how that winter's going to go, but that's got to be our priority. This was one of my, things that I was concerned about. One of my concerns is that, we'd have to cut these things that make our village beautiful and keep our village clean. And, you know, once you start letting that go, it's not a good image for the downtown area at all. So, you know, we had to cut things that happened on the weekends because it creates a big overtime bill. And, you know, we really have to be very weary about what's coming in the future as far as, you know, winter cleanup or, you know, with the heavy rains, trees down, emergency situations that really require the overtime to be used for first.
Friday night, you have people going out to dinner.
I agree with you.
Saturday morning, it was filthy. The garbage cans were overflowing. We have no right having people inviting people to look at our village if that's the way we're going to present it. Remove the garbage cans if you can't empty them. Why should they be overflowing? It was a mess.
Mm-hmm. And we generally would have DPW crew on, you know, working at the parade.
As I was saying, I'm a veteran myself, and I marched in the parade. And you have every right to say that the garbage was all over the street. That can be remedied, and we need to work on a plan to remedy it. Either be it by having the garbage collected by the DPW or the street department on comp time, or some other means of putting out another garbage can. But it was a disgrace. It was a disgrace to the veterans, and it was a disgrace to the Village of Suffern. Something has to be done. That's what I have to say.
I think it shouldn't be another garbage can. I think it should be a dumpster, and I think that those little cans need to be removed at this point. If you're not going to empty them, then don't leave them there to be filled. But I think something needs to be done. This is embarrassing.
We knew we were going to have the parade. I agree wholeheartedly with you. We knew we were going to have a parade. We know that there's a garbage issue on the weekends, and we know that a lot of people come into the village to use the restaurants and everything else. That's why I'm saying I'm agreeing with you.
And what
is that
about flags?
Something needs to be done.
We need flags are not expensive.
We were talking about Memorial Day, honoring our dead heroes.
That's right.
Please take note of this, whoever's listening in the street department, and let's remedy the situation. We can do it. We do more with less.
Do we have DPW here, street department?
Scott Brown, Village of Suffern, CSCA Unit President. Again, the employees in this village did not create this situation. The village employees get paid to work in this village for the village. When there's work to be done, we're the first ones out there. We get paid. We don't work for free. We can't support our families. You heard the gentleman here this evening. We cannot do this for free. We must get paid. And I'm sorry, that's just the way the life is. Everybody who does their job, they get paid. The problem being, the budget was cut by $60,000. Last year we spent $130,000 in just our department in overtime. This year we have $70,000 to spend. I don't know how it's going to be done, but that's not it's the village problem. And there's going to be more problems like this because we just don't have the money to function.
I'm asking questions again because I want to hear answers. It's not on his shoulders. You cut it in the budget. We need things. And it was embarrassing. What's happening 4th of July? Are we going to have enough flags around?
I don't have the answer. Do we have enough flags?
I have a question about the flags. I don't know if you're the right person to answer this or not. The flags that would go at Memorial Park in the past, who were they provided by? How were they provided, if you know?
Memorial Park meaning the gazebo area? Or?
No, meaning I think we're talking about by the pool,
By the
right?
pool.
The park by Memorial Drive. There always used to be flags in each, because there's actually little plaques.
The veterans used to do it, yes.
Okay. I mean, frankly, if I had known flags weren't going to be provided, I would have donated them. I think a lot of people would have. I don't think that would have been an issue, but, so maybe.
Joe's going to answer.
I don't know the answer to that, so I think
Joe does.
The last 2 years, the DPW took the flag money out of our park and rec money and put them out for Memorial Day and 4th of July.
Okay.
The veterans did it in the past, but again, we haven't had much help off the hill when it comes to functions like that.
Do we have any idea how many flags are used at Memorial Park? 56 small flags? Okay. I will donate 56 small flags to get that done by July 4th. And would encourage any fellow board members to chip in.
I will chip in with you, Matt.
Okay, now who's going to clean up the garbage? That's right. We don't need garbage cans out there if they're not going to be emptied. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
So if it would work for the village board, I can look for 56 flags. I'll work with Joe to find out where we got them, and then we'll, okay.
Please do. Thank you.
I'm here for my annual request to have the speed humps put on Memorial Drive and the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. This is the third year. I mean, the signs can go up. I don't know if we have money for the speed humps, but I mean, the 25 limit's been in effect for almost 3 years. All we need is about 3 signs. Is this a burden? I don't know. I'm going to piggyback on what Debbie said. There is a solution to picking up garbage on weekends. I heard a request to hire a laborer in the workshop. I don't know if that's going to go through or not. Where is it written in the law that they have to be off on weekends? Why can't they work weekends and have 2 days off during the week, and you solve the overtime problem? Well, I don't know. I'm asking the question. Nobody's telling me. Let the mayor answer it. You're a union person. Let the mayor answer it.
It is, I'll answer you. I have the answer. It is contractual.
Well, then sit down with your union and work something out like you worked out the two-year extensions with the union, and the village got nothing. So sit down with them and work.
I did sit down with them, Mr. Giannatino. Unfortunately, with the way cuts are being made and the way this
we keep blaming rate cuts. Do something about it.
Are you going to let me speak? Because I didn't speak when you were speaking.
Okay, go right ahead.
The employees right now do not feel very secure in their jobs. They are not very happy in their jobs. There are a lot of things that have gone on in this village that have not been honest with them. Therefore, they have not been very willing to work. The employee-village relationship has truly been hurt. And unfortunately, I did reach out, and they are too afraid to make any concessions because they don't want past practice thrown at them, and they do not want to work on weekends, and it is contractual.
Well, you have a very large amount of taxpayers who aren't too happy either. And that's going to come up soon, too. I got my tax bill, and it's up $600. And I don't get a raise every year. And I don't have a contract.
I don't either, Mr. Giannatino. I had my salary cut. So
well, I made less than you when I sat there, so I didn't cry. But there is a solution, and if you can't work with the union people, then it's going to be a bad situation for them, for the taxpayers, and everyone else. Garbage can be picked up. You hire a new person. You can't change that work week?
No.
I'm going to request a copy of the contract.
Please do.
Tom Zodan, 249 Parkside Drive. Good evening, Mayor and Board. One day I just want to let everyone know that, I'm happy you guys finally resolved the budget, albeit 16% increase was pretty high. but there was a silver lining in this budget, and that is the next budget. There will be two expenses that are in this year's budget that will be gone, and that's the police buyout will be paid off, and then there's a band of $50,000 payment that will be gone. So we'll have $451,000 approximately in expenses that will be taken out of the general fund next year. So hopefully that would cover, additional salaries, maybe restore some kind of cuts or whatever, and maybe going forward we could, have a small general fund tax increase. So let's keep that in mind next year when we're doing the budget. Okay. The reason I'm here is I was a bit dismayed when I saw the report from New York State. Not that it said that the budget was reasonable, but when they talked about what is called the unreserved fund balance, indicating that there's a $5.24 million unreserved fund deficit balance. Now, when they wrote that up in the paper, of course, the people reading it believe that we have a deficit in the funds combined of $5.24 million. That's not quite right. So I would like to ask the mayor and the board, if anyone there knows what the true fund balances are as of May 31st, 2014.
I don't have that paperwork in front of me, Tom. If you would have caught me outside, I would have brought it in with me.
I asked 2 months ago for that information.
Why didn't you go to
I put in a FOIA request for that information, and I didn't get it.
You didn't
and then I came back again looking for it, and I still haven't gotten it.
Do you have a FOIA request from him?
I gave it to Mr. Janito.
Oh, Mr. Janito has it, and he's not here tonight. I will check with him and get that to you.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
Now, from what I know, okay, I know exactly how you guys came up with the $5.24 million, but I would like it explained to the public, and it should be explained in the newspaper so that everyone can see it, so they won't be so frightened. Because the reality is the fund balances is less than, the deficit is less than half of this $5.24 million. And I would hope that it's been explained to all the board and to the people that if you borrow $5.24 million, you're going to have to pay it back over 10 years, meaning you're going to have to pay back at a minimum $520,000 a year in principal, plus over $100,000 a year in interest. The first year, it's got to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $150,000 to $175,000 of interest. So, borrowing this, if you allow this $5.25 million to be borrowed, it's going to cost you over $1 million in interest over the life. And you should understand, and I'll give you an example. And I'd like to apologize to the bloggers that think I'm, putting them to sleep or feel like I'm lecturing. I'm very sorry, but I think people should understand this. So anyway, in the water fund, it said we had an unassigned fund balance of approximately $1.2 million. The reality is our fund deficit in the water fund is about $190,000 now. But yet, they're saying we should borrow $1,200,000 for the water fund alone. I can't fathom why someone would do that, especially since going forward, we know that we have in the contingency $238,000, and that should wipe out the deficit in the water fund by next year. So why would we want to borrow $1.2 million? I think it's imperative that the people get the true explanation of what this $5.2 million represents and a true understanding of what our fund deficit is.
Thanks, Tom. I'll make sure that I check on that for you as soon as he's away this week. As soon as he gets back, I'll have him take care of that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, if no one else would like to speak, we'll go on. Oops, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Paul Gerard to Cross Street. So as you can see, there's a lot of people here tonight really concerned, and the timing of this meeting with everybody getting their tax bills, we're not too happy. What I wanted to understand is, I'm looking at Mr. Janito's cover letter to the budget that was put out on April 30th. And we're talking about applying for this long-term deficit financing with the state. 10 years. I wanted to understand a little bit more. What are some of the obligations that come with this? If we get this funding from the state, I know that we are under oversight of the state.
We are.
I guess for any future budgets. So.
Well, quarterly reports.
Okay. Do they have say in what we can and cannot spend funds on? Spend expenditures? Do we decide that, or do we run it by them and they can say no?
Well, no,
to a certain thing?
it has to be, when you apply for the deficit financing, you have to identify where your deficits are and what we're trying to accomplish. And then you also have to send in your plan, your corrective action plan, your deficit financing plan, but then you also have to do quarterly reports to the state comptroller's office of the finances of the village. So it's very closely monitored so that they can make sure that you're doing the right thing with the money that you're getting. And it's by the way, it's up to $5 million. It's not saying it will be $5 million. It is up to $5 million.
Okay, so that's the extent of how they can help us.
And the budgeting.
Right.
I believe they review the budget.
They review the budget, correct.
Along with the quarterly reports.
Right.
Okay.
To make sure they're fiscally sound, so that we're not
that's what
exaggerating any of the revenue coming in.
Okay, so these are basically all the obligations that we have under this oversight?
As far as I know.
Okay, so no other limitations would be imposed upon the village? I don't know, is there a limitation on how much we can tax residents?
No, it's strictly for deficit financing only.
Okay. It says in here, we believe that the long-term deficit financing combined with several other measures that we were putting into place to address the financial situation will lead us back to financial well-being. What are some of these other, when we say several other measures? Can anybody comment on those? And Mayor, I appreciate I come up here and you always answer all my questions, but does any of the board members have any insight to
I believe on the question that you're answering.
I'd love to hear from more of you.
Right. I believe some of the measures that they're taking into account are the increase in the water rate, the increase in the sewer rate, the increase in the tax rate. So they're taking that into consideration.
Okay. So the way we're going to get ourselves out of this situation is to have the state cover us from a deficit standpoint and then just tax people? Are there any other
that would have to be the solutions that we are currently working on, and the mayor can help me out here, is with the 5-year plan. And if Mr. Janito was here, he'd be able to elaborate quite more on it.
Okay. Anybody else on the board have any?
Mr. Gerard?
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't want to blow my own horn, but if it wasn't for the 4 trustees, we wouldn't have got this long-term deficit financing to try to get us out of the mess. The financing problem's been going on for 10 years.
Okay, but I'm not...
came up with the idea to do this and talk to the treasurer.
Okay.
Trustees.
I'm just not hearing a lot of what's going to make them go away down the road.
I'm not a financial person. I can't
Well,
I'm sorry?
hopefully, realistic budgeting. I mean, part of the problem over the years has been unrealistic budgeting. I mean, I'm not an accountant. That's the state controller saying this, not us. That over the years, a lot of unrealistic budgeting went on. Expenses were paid out that we didn't have the revenue to sustain. So that's what caused the budget problem that we're facing now. How to get out of it? Again, Mr. Janito has said several times he has a 5-year plan. To deal with this, we have yet to see it.
So this is his plan, not the board's plan?
Well, Mr. Janito is the village treasurer, and there's no way we have the knowledge that he does. And what we're looking for is his guidance. He feels the deficit funding, again, there's a number of expenses that just keep coming up. If you look at the sewer plant, there's millions of dollars in expenses that come up, and we're mandated to do these things. The revenue has to come from someplace. So over the years, I guess there were some mistakes made, and now we're in the process of trying to straighten them out. So will it solve itself in 6 weeks? No, not at all. It may take a year, it may take 2 years. We're really not sure.
Okay, I'm really not sure. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting.
Mr. George,
Well, would
may
it
I?
make sense for me to
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Okay. So, first of all, the state comptroller's report said that one of the problems, which I think Mr. Morris is kind of unclear on, it was overestimated revenues. And what had happened was we had 2 very big projects here in the village that we were led to believe, even one by HUD, that were going to come to fruition here in the village. There was no reason for us to believe that it wouldn't. So that led to overestimated revenues. So that was part of the problem. The other part of the problem was just poor accounting and misleading information. And as Mr. Morris so clearly and eloquently put it, you have to rely on your treasurer to be your expert. Board members are not the people who have this knowledge and this expertise in this field. So you rely heavily on your treasurer to give you the information that is in the best interest of the village. Unfortunately, that didn't always happen. And so there was some downfalls. One of the other biggest problems was nobody ever really came up with plans to invest in our infrastructure. They went on for years and years and years without investing in our infrastructure and not maintaining our buildings, our vehicles, having maintenance plans. Since I took office as mayor, I have replaced our treasurer with a treasurer who is very well respected and has on many occasions discussed the 5-year plan and how in terms of what it is that we need to do, cutting expenses, replacing employees with lower paid positions. When I took office, I went into the police department and did a buyout program. So these are all measures that will be used. I've also worked with the DPW and Charles Sawicki. We're going to have a procurement policy where we're going to buy in bulk. So there's many measures that you can use to be able to cut down on expenses, and that's the things that, I could go on, but these are a few indicators of where we're going right now, and where I'm working on trying to bring down the expenses of the village. But I think on the whole, and where it fell on the taxpayers is that we needed a clear picture of where this village was financially. And unfortunately, for many, many years, I as a trustee was not given that picture. I was given a lot of misinformation. And then when I became mayor, and although many believe it's a part-time job, it's a full-time job, and I took it very seriously, I went into each department, into computers and books, and found the problems that I did in the treasurer's office and immediately took action, brought Mr. Janito on board, and now we're in a recovery process. recovery sometimes can be very painful. I'm really confident that this will be our painful year and that we are going to have a serious, solid handle on the finances of the village going forward. So yes, while we opened our tax bills, and I opened one too, it's going to be a rough year. I do believe that if we take this year in the beginning of our recovery process, we're really going to not feel these hard effects later on. But we have to take responsibility for our village. And that's where it's been lacking, and that's where I've been working very hard to be able to come up with maintenance plans so we're not hit all in one year.
Okay. I mean, listen, I understand why we got here. That's kind of why I've been coming to these meetings more recently, but I'm concerned about looking forward and getting ourselves out of this. I'm kind of, to be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed that nobody's brought up a topic that was brought up a couple months ago, and establishing Suffern as a city. Why isn't that a possible solution to help bring more money to the city of Suffern, the town of Suffern, city of Suffern, whatever you want to call us? I'd like to call us the city of Suffern at some day, without burdening any of the residents for a single additional dollar.
Yeah.
Well, how come nobody's mentioned that?
Well, I've mentioned it actually, Paul. I don't know.
Tonight.
You're at the board. Because
I mean, with this question, I mean,
I'll answer it.
So Terry Rice and myself and some residents of the community have actually done most of the legwork on trying to come up with all of the things that need to be. This is a process that needs every I dotted and every T crossed. But Terry, I think we're at the point now where I was hoping actually at the next meeting, but we'll talk about it now, was going to be able to present to the board and to the residents the plan to consider becoming our own city. We pay, excuse me, $1.5 million to the town of Ramapo every single year. And I'm sorry for the golfers, but it's to play golf. And that's the only benefit that we get from the town of Ramapo. This is $1.5 million that we certainly could use right here in the Village of Suffern in our taxpayers' pockets. So we have all of our own services. We certainly do not need the Ramapo Police Department patrolling our village, which they do so very often. I'm not sure why, but I see a lot of police cars in the Village of Suffern. But, you know, there's no need for duplication of services, and there's no need for the taxpayers to be burdened by that. So, yes, at the next at the July board meeting, I'm so sorry. I will present that plan.
We need to get the Village of Suffern's house in order before we explore any possibility of becoming a city. We can't. We need to. Why do we need to get the Village of Suffern in order?
Yeah.
Before we become a city? Yeah. We need to manage our village and take it from there. Build up our, restore our financial stability. Be able to pick up the trash. Restore the overtime budgets. We are unable to do it now. We have the New York State Comptroller in here looking at our budgets. We are the most fiscally stressed village in the state of New York.
That's why I'm bringing it up, yeah.
Yeah, and that is my answer. If the Village of Suffern was financially stable, there would be a possibility to take a look at that.
So you're saying it's not a possibility?
I'm not saying it is, or in my opinion. First of all, I believe that we need to get our house in order.
It's a means of getting our house in order.
If you look at it that way,
I do look at it that way.
Okay.
Mr. Markunas?
Why wouldn't we look at that as a means of getting our house in order? I mean, you know, it's probably a net of 1.3 to 1.4 after we get a tax assessor office set up here.
Right.
And we've got a $5+ million deficit here. Why is it? I mean, you got a better idea? I mean, I'm asking. My initial questions were, what else are we doing?
Right.
And all I've heard was we're gonna take 10-year financing from the state and we're going to increase taxes on water, sewer, and village taxes.
Right, and we're going to have to invest another $4 million in the wastewater treatment plant also.
Okay, so you're just telling us that our taxes are just going to continue to go up?
No, we have to come up with a viable plan, and that's what we're in the developmental stages of with the treasurer.
Okay, You've been on this board since you were elected in November.
Yes.
Why are we just starting this now?
This has been in progress. This is according to the mayor. Mayor, how long has the financial plan been in place or has been being developed? That we haven't seen. We keep asking for it.
You keep saying this, and the treasurer has gone over this time and time again with you. It's been explained to you so many times.
Where is the plan?
How is he? It's not. It's been discussed with you.
He stated that he doesn't have anything in writing. I'm not going to argue the point.
Yeah, he has not formally written it up yet.
Okay.
Because you have to understand the deficit financing had to be approved. He can't write you a plan when the deficit financing wasn't even approved yet. We just got approval on it. The governor still has to sign it. You can't put a plan into place until you have that approval. You know that. And the other portion is, you know what, Mr. Markunas, I would really like to encourage you. I love my village. And you keep calling it broke, and
I never called the village broke.
And you keep calling it bankrupt. And
I never used the word bankrupt.
You have, and most fiscally stressed.
Fiscally stressed, yes. The comptroller stated it in his report.
You know what? Let's start talking about recovery. Let's start talking about this village getting back up on its feet. Let's give some people some hope here. There is hope, and there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yay.
Okay, so will this financial support from the state, will this in any way impede our ability to become a city?
No.
All right. Okay, so we're bringing up this topic next month. I'm really looking forward to that because I'd love to hear more from the rest of the board on what their issue is with this idea. Mr. Markunas, with all due respect, I don't understand what you're saying right now.
Okay.
Because this is a big piece of fruit hanging really low on the tree that nobody has to jump up too high to grab. And it's very large, and it really could help us a great deal. I cannot fathom why you would turn your eyes on that one until we get our house in order, when there's no real viable plan to get our house in order other than to raise the taxes on all the residents here. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, I'm really happy to hear that Wayne and Orange are getting paved and it's not on our dime. That's terrific. I appreciate that. Although the auto mechanics in this town probably will not. Okay, I think. On this state financing, does anybody know what is the interest rate we will pay on that? Is that something we know yet, or not sure yet?
Do you want me to answer?
I'm sorry?
I don't think that's locked in at this point.
No, it's not.
We don't know yet?
We don't know yet.
Okay, so we don't really know what kind of deal this is for us, do we?
We'll get all the paperwork. When we get all the paperwork back from the governor's office, it will be made public.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Brown, 19 Oak Terrace, Village of Suffern, CSEA Unit President. Just to answer a couple questions that were asked before by Mr. Giantino, the reason the CSEA unit is in this village is because of Mr. Giantino. Thank you, Jim. The reason the 7 to 3:30 or summer hours, whatever it is, Monday through Friday, is in the employee contract is because Mr. Giantino, without even discussing it with the employees that were in the process of forming the unit, took it upon himself to change the work week. So that's the reason the hours are in the bargaining agreement. During that process, we went to PERB, which is the Public Employees Court. It's up in Albany. We had, I think, 11 or 13, I can't remember the exact number, of issues with the village. We sued the village. The CSEA sued the village. And out of the 11 or 13, we won 100% of the issues that were involved. The cost to this village was somewhere over $200,000 for back pay, overtime, for the employees being treated unfairly. Again, and I've had this discussion before, I do not... Everything we do here in this village is try to improve the village. I try to have a working relationship with the mayor and the board. I've talked to you, Ed. We stood right here. We stood outside, and I want to have a working relationship. That's the goal that we're trying to have, is to work together here. Some things that go on, it just doesn't seem like you want to work with us. I just don't get it, but we'll try and keep that open for the future, try and work together. I mean, that's the best we can do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Carol Verano, Suffern, New York. My home's at 20 Boulevard. Question. In the past, when we put garbage out, there were restrictions. Certain areas would put it out on certain days, other areas on another day, like Monday and Tuesday, or Monday and Thursday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Whatever, it would be one day, skip a day, the next day for the different areas. So the garbage men would have a chance to cover this area today. Tomorrow, they would go to another area in the village. And then as the village grew, we changed the days and the pickups to accommodate the population so the garbage men could handle the garbage in those days. There became a problem in the village, in the downtown area, because of the sidewalks, the space to put the garbage in that. So they were requested not to put the garbage out until a certain time for the garbage man to pick it up in the morning. So it would not be obstructing the sidewalk and the grounds when people were walking through and doing their normal shopping. The garbage man would come early, like they still do, and do their pickups. But the people were restricted from putting the garbage out at any other time. I do not recall our garbage men ever working on weekends and holidays. There were notices. The garbage, due to the holiday on Monday, will be picked up on Tuesday. And the people are not supposed to put that garbage out until the evening before. So it's not there for the whole week or for every day. Perhaps our code enforcer could, in his tours, make a note of who is putting the garbage out. Once they get used to seeing a nice, neat village, maybe they'll want to keep it neat themselves. Maybe if they get a little reminder notice, a polite notice. We don't want the garbage, you can't put the garbage out today because it's not going to be picked up till tomorrow. We always made the notices. There's always something posted.
Yeah, Carolyn, I don't think we're talking about that, honey. We're talking about the baskets.
She's talking about the garbage during Memorial Day.
The baskets. The baskets that are downtown, not the store owners, the baskets. The pedestrian garbage, not the store owner's garbage. You know how they have the baskets on the poles downtown? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the storefronts putting out their garbage. They have dumpsters in the back. We're just talking about the garbage that accumulates from pedestrian traffic.
And you had that much just on the weekend?
There's a lot. Yeah. But thank you.
Well, all right. But the other thing I wanted to do is compliment you. I thought you did a wonderful job, all of you, on that parade. It was one of the nicest Memorial Day parades I can remember in years. We always hosted the 4th of July parade. I don't know what happened. We don't do it anymore. And we always had brochures. I don't know if you remember the little books. And we didn't pay for them. People advertised in them. And when I got this is from NIAC. And they did a really nice job. And I'd like to give it to you to look at. Maybe you could get ideas, not to copy, not to plagiarize, but in the next parade or the next event we have, put something up like this or similar to what we did during our 4th of July celebrations.
Thank you, we will look at it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
That's all I had to say, so I'll give it to
Thank you. Okay, if no one else, oops, one more, okay.
Good evening, Board. Andrew Zavosky, 3 Center Street, Suffern, New York. We received our tax bill today in the mail, and we're not pleased with the increase. And, it's very sad that every time we turn around, things keep going up. And again, we're on a fixed income, and I barely don't make that much in terms of income. So you have to look at your budget and take appropriate action going forward and get rid of a lot of things that, unfortunately, you're going to have to get rid of. Another thing, too, I work for a company at Western Union in Mahwah, EDS Western Union, 20-some-odd years. We were physically stressed at some point, and we were told our work week was going to change. And we were going to have Sunday through Thursday, Monday through Friday, and Tuesday through Saturday to alleviate some of the issues with the budget. And a lot of the employees kind of loved the idea because they were able to pick times that fit into their schedule. I happened to work the Sunday through Thursday tour and enjoyed it. It was more or less a prime tour. So if you need coverage, and this goes to Mr. Sawicki over there, if you need coverage, you have it on days that you need it, 7 by 24, more or less. So that's something that I think you should look into in this type of situation, is reopen that contract up for the employees, and maybe they may feel comfortable working different times of the work week. I know for me it worked out fairly well. So you might want to keep that aside. And one other issue offside the budget has to do with the police department. As this is an FYI, I was just curious, Chief Osborne, if we have our patrol officers or those that are out on duty, if they wear like any kind of body camera on them?
We have cameras in our patrol cars. Anytime the lights go on for a stop, they automatically go on. And we also have a microphone that's in the officer's pocket, clipped on the officer, that basically videotapes and audio tapes every car stop. Body cameras we do not have. I don't think anybody in Rockland has them, I'll be honest with you, at this point.
Would you be open time or something like that?
I'd look into it with every other department. I think the chiefs will probably bring it up as an association. I do have obviously several issues that deal with people's privacy with those. That was one of the big issues that came up with us. But we'd be open to look at it, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, especially on patrol.
Sure.
I think it would definitely be better for the village.
Understandable.
Thank you.
Okay. We will move on. Department of Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and the board. I am requesting the mayor to accept the resignation of Street Department MEO 1 Brandon Cronk effective May 28th, 2015.
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I am requesting the mayor to appoint Mr. Anello Vacciano to the vacant labor position working in the refuse department effective June 8th, 2015, with a rate of pay of $16.86 per hour.
Now, just to kind of recap what we talked about at the workshop, you had mentioned, number one, this is an entry-level position, obviously.
Yes.
And that there is a more senior position that will become vacant in the next couple of months. I forget what time frame you said that might be.
Should be towards the end of July, or at the end of July.
And that we will be looking at the feasibility of not filling that position at that time.
For this year, that's correct.
Okay, I'd like to make the appointment. I need a motion to confirm.
Motion.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second? I'm sorry, Mr. Sawicki, I guess you're not hiring a laborer. When things are not getting done in the village, I guess then we'll talk about it again.
I am requesting approval for the wastewater treatment plant DEC implementation schedule for the upgrade and modifications as requested by the New York State DEC. Now, just one thing I didn't elaborate on in the workshop is this implementation schedule is something that I put together with some discussions with Terry and with Michael, the treasurer, in trying to give us as much time as possible before we actually start the work. The DEC may come back and modify that schedule, wanting it to be accelerated. So that part, I'm not certain how that will shake out, but just so you're aware of it.
Can you explain what the schedule contains right now?
Well, it's
for the public to understand what it is you're.
Yeah, let me find that here. Okay. All right, so again, it is an implementation schedule. This is what is typically requested.
I don't think you finished yet.
Oh.
No, he's done.
No, I was trying to explain
You were
it.
mid-sentence, yes.
Do you want me to explain it?
Yeah.
Please. Yes, okay, all right. Let me just backtrack a little bit. The basis of this design is the first of 4 elements of this implementation schedule. And again, that is the way that the DC likes to have it formatted. The basis is an understanding of what the project is going to be and how it's going to be done, and so on and so forth. And that would be have a milestone date of March 2017. The next element here is a final design, which would take that basis of design and go in and actually get a final set of bid documents that would actually be able to have the project built, and you go out for bids, and it'd be the final set of documents. And that has a milestone date of April 2018. Then the third element here is a notice to proceed. Notice to proceed would be once you received your bids, you made a determination that the low bidder had a complete and comprehensive bid. You have funding in place. and be able to issue a notice to proceed to that low bid contractor. And that milestone date is October 2018. And then the last element here is the final construction or final completion of the project, and that has a milestone date of May 2021. So again, the DEC may look at this and may agree or may ask to have it accelerated. We won't know that until we submit it and have them review it.
The total cost of this project?
We have an order of magnitude. Of course, there's two different possible routes that, or different type of systems that could be implemented. The higher of the two has an order of magnitude cost of $2.8 million.
The total projects we just talked about come to over $4 million.
That would be
$4.4 million.
Yeah, that would be the other two sewer abatement projects.
That's the four projects that you outlined in your flyer, you said. So that's 4-point-something million, 4.3, something like that. In the minutes of the meeting you had with DEC, the DEC recommended that you apply for a grant from a state environmental agency. Did we do that?
I know we had some discussions with Michael, the treasurer, and Fred, the grant writer, and we have, I know Fred had started that process. I don't know where it currently, the current status.
Process, the minutes I'm talking about started in 2012. Was the date of the minutes in the meeting. I'm sorry. The dates on the minutes, which you were DEC, were back in around 2012, I think. And at that point, they outlined what was going to be coming up. And again, did we make any movement for grants? I mean, see, people talk about the budget and what happens. So here we are looking at $4.3 million after we've already spent $4 million into the project. And these things are simply to bring us into compliance with violations we received from DEC. Right?
Well, yeah. In regards to the two other projects that you mentioned, and as we talked about in the workshop, they are in the consent order, and we were able to push that due date or the start date for those projects off by a year. So that, and then the intent is to utilize that time to apply for grants that might be available, and I know Fred is working on that.
Well, the grants haven't been applied for yet from this agency. We're talking about 4.3 just to satisfy violations at the plant. We're still not talking about routine maintenance and upkeep that has to be performed, and normal parts that are wearing out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the total price tag is going to come substantially higher than the $4.3 million.
It would be. It would be higher, sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
So just what you're asking us to adopt tonight is simply the schedule.
Right.
Is that right?
That's correct. And that's, what was requested by the DEC, and that's usually the first order of business. They will review it and comment on it and possibly ask to have it modified.
And if it does have to be modified, you'd be coming back here for that modification, I would assume? Do you know?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. I'll make the motion to adopt the implementation schedule outlined by Mr. Sawicki.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay. Requesting payment of application of payment number 9 to Northeast Remsco Construction in the amount of $54,450 for the wastewater treatment plant digester upgrade project. This is a final payment. This is contingent upon the receipt of all closeout documents, and I have talked to the treasurer, and the funding is available.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Requesting payment application of payment number 5 to HVS LLC for the electrical portion of the wastewater treatment digester upgrade project in the amount of $6,724.25. This is contingent upon the receipt of all closeout documents and has the treasurer has indicated that funding is available.
And that is a final payment, I think you indicated.
Final payment as well, yes.
Motion.
Second. I have to go about. Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Okay. All right, this is in response to questions concerning the MS4 outfall reconnaissance inventory in which 8 outfalls were identified. The New York State DEC MS4 program for the village is in compliance and has no violations and has received a satisfactory rating during the January 2015 audit. This program relies on many village employees who take their responsibilities very seriously to ensure compliance. The village has taken a very active role within the Stormwater Consortium of Rockland County to stay on top of any and all changing requirements. The DEC requires that an inventory be conducted for each stormwater outfall every 5 years. The main purpose of the outfall reconnaissance inventory is to detect illicit or suspect discharges from stormwater outfalls. The procedure requires an inspector only after a minimum of 24 hours of dry weather conditions to physically visit the designated outfall to determine if any suspect elements such as an oily sheen, discoloration, suds, paint, or odor are present. If the inspector finds any elements of a suspect discharge, the inspector will immediately contact the Director of Public Works, who is the stormwater manager officer. A sample for lab analysis will be taken, additional data will be collected, and the adjacent and upstream stormwater systems investigated to determine the source. In pursuit of a complaint filed with the New York State Attorney General, the New York State DEC submitted 2 questions to the village concerning outfalls number 6 and number 7. The questions were, number 1, are you able to provide any explanation to 2 outfalls being inspected at the same time? The response was outfall number 6 and number 7 are located on the Mahwah River and are directly opposite of the waterway in close proximity. Our outfall number 6 was dry, and outfall number 7 had moderate non-suspect flow. As a result of the non-flow conditions, the field sheet for outfall number 6 was completed very quickly, taking a minute or 2 to complete. During the January field portion of the audit, the DEC auditor agreed. Question number 2. Does the village know why outfall number 7 always flows? The response was, the action taken was on Friday, September 19th, 2014, a professional engineer from the Office of Brooker Engineering, along with village personnel, conducted inspections of outfall number 6 and number 7. Outfall number 6 was dry, while outfall number 7 had a slight flow present. The flow was clear, without odor, turbidity, or floatables. The flow was characterized as a non-illicit and non-suspect discharge. The source of the flow from number 7 was traced through the stormwater system to higher elevations on James Street. In addition, the topography, as shown on the GIS maps in the vicinity of outfall number 7, suggests that an underground stream may be present. All indications lead towards groundwater infiltration. The village will continue to monitor the stormwater systems for any possible illicit discharge. The DEC does not require sections 3, 4, and 7 to be completed for non-flow outfalls and sections 3 and 7 for non-suspect outfalls. Outfall number 1A, which there was 3 in this group of 8, is the effluent discharge from the wastewater treatment plant. As per DEC requirements, this discharge is lab tested daily. The discharge has been removed from the list of stormwater outfall list as approved by the New York State DEC. That leaves the outfalls number 4, 5, and 15. These 3 outfalls were inventoried 3 consecutive years. And although a few of the outfall inventories may have been imperfect, the main purpose of the program was satisfied. Last year, inspectors received outfall reconnaissance inventory training from a stormwater consultant and will receive additional training on an annual basis. Any questions?
Stormwater outfall pipe 6 and 7. One had flow, one did not.
Correct.
One traced back up to James Street. The infiltration of water into the pipe is due to the pipe being broken?
Well, there's typically, and that's what it is here, and this on the outfall 7, is reinforced concrete. And it has a male-female joint. And over time, I mean, initially when it's installed, that joint is mortared. Over time, that joint and the mortar in the joint breaks down, gets some cracks, and you do get infiltration in the pipe from time to time, particularly if you're coming from a higher elevation where you have a greater opportunity for water to...
As in that case on James Street?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the number of inspections performed annually, is it annually on the requirement and the percentage of outfall pipes that need to be inspected?
The requirement from the DEC is essentially to have each outfall inspected every 5 years. So that equates to 20% per year. So if you did 20% per year over that 5-year period, you would complete 100% of the outfall inspections.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Okay, village clerk.
First of all, we have the minutes of February the 4th to be accepted.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
Aye.
So moved.
The next is the consultant, Mr. Vella's agreement, which starts July 1st.
Is it not working? Oh, talk closer.
Hold on. We have the consultant agreement with Mr. Vella, which begins July 1st, 2015, and to end June 30th of next year.
If I could just be heard, the Rella name goes a long way in the Village of Suffern, as we all know. We're sitting in the Fred Rella Auditorium, not named after you, but after your father. And one of my first forays into local politics was as your father's legislative aide when he got elected to the county legislature in 1980, I want to say 83, 82, somewhere around there. Now, that doesn't justify your appointment here tonight, of course, in and of itself, but it is nice to see another longtime family of Suffern taking part in what we accomplish here in the village. So, and your list of that you gave us at the workshop of all the things you have worked on, have accomplished, and those that you're still working on are impressive. We need your expertise now more than ever, frankly, in attempting to get as many grants and aid that we can get to assist us in all of our needs. So I happily make the motion to approve Mr. Rella's agreement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Thank you. We have a request from Ole Ole Restaurant. They were on a request for 4 tables and 8 chairs.
This is a renewal.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? So moved.
This is a new one. Marcella's Restaurant, request for 4 tables and 8 chairs.
Motion.
Do I have a
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? So moved.
That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Mike Janito is away at a conference. He sent a report. He filed with the New York State Controller, 2015-2016 constitutional tax limit, 2015-2016 adopted budget, 2015-2016 tax levy cap form, and 2015-2016 tax freeze form. We did receive from the Office of the State Controller the 2015-2016 budget review report, and the Treasurer's Office is preparing the required corrective action plan. The 2013-2014 audit field work is in its final stages. There's just a few items that need to be resolved. And the Treasurer's Office will be posting the 2015-2016 adopted budget to the financial management system this week. Trustees.
Just on those documents that Mr. Gino sent to all of us, either today or yesterday, I forget which, might have been today.
I think it was today, yeah.
The extent to which those documents can be posted to the website so the public can view what's been submitted as well, I think would be a good idea.
Yeah, I think he just wanted the board to see it, and then I think it's going to be posted.
Yeah, so I would just ask if it wasn't already contemplated that they be posted.
Okay, trustees, do you have anything?
Well, we got the executive session coming up. You want to do the insurance?
Yeah, I'm going to do the insurance, but does trustees have anything else?
Well, I asked about the fire chief, so can we put it on record?
No, because there's nothing really new yet. No. But when there is, we'll definitely have it. Okay, it is time once again to renew our insurance. The brokerage firm that we have used for many years and has always come in with very good pricing for us and has worked very closely and assisted us through the year, went out and solicited bids from different insurance companies and has brought back the policies to us for our review. Last year we did try to bring in 2 brokerage companies that really didn't work out all that well because they each could not broker to the same insurance company that the other one was. So basically, using one, you were getting the same pricing as if you would have used 2. This year, I'm happy to report that everybody else would have assumed that our insurance would be going up. However, they have found our insurance to go down about $44,000 to $45,000 for our general liability. And our workman's comp, I believe it's about 16 or 17,000 going up. But all in all, we are still ahead of the game with what they are proposing, which I'm very pleased about because it's very rare that your insurance goes down. The board has had the opportunity to review the documents, and I would need a motion to accept the lowest bid of $197,000 from Allied Worldwide Insurance. It will, our current policy expires on June 12th.
And just to clarify, Mayor, the $44,000 to $45,000, that this is less than last year's.
That's correct.
It's less, therefore, it's less than our budgeted amount.
That's correct.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. We also would need to do the PERMA. Just get you a number here. PERMA being the lowest bid. As soon as I find the number, I will give it to you. of $459,439. Do I have a motion?
That's the workers' comp, right?
That's a workers' comp, correct.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Markunas?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session.
Hey, just one question on the
personnel.
insurance. I forgot to ask them, are they gone? No,
Mr. Crotty?
Mr.
flood
Crotty?
insurance. I'm sorry. Yeah, just,
Who made a motion for executive session?
Nobody yet.
I just have a question on this flood. In the policy, in the policy it excludes floods. Are we eligible to get the federal flood insurance?
I'd have to check with Scott Gillender. He's left already.
Okay. All right, if you could, just, because I see we're excluded from it.
I believe the answer is yes, but I'd have to check with him. He's the primary agent on this account.
And would that include parts, when you talk to him, the parts of our village that are in FEMA designated flood areas?
Mm-hmm.
Would that flood insurance cover those areas?
Yes, the answer to that is yes. What we're waiting for is the valuations on the buildings. I believe the requests are there. We just have to get the numbers back. There's forms that are outstanding now that need to be completed and submitted.
But I mean, we'd have to go to the federal government, the federal flood insurance, to get those areas that are in the FEMA flood zones, to get them covered.
I can barely hear you. Could I?
I'm sorry. That's the federal flood insurance. In the policy, we don't have flood insurance for buildings or property that's in the federally designated flood zones.
Correct.
If we get the federal flood insurance, would we be covered?
If you get yes. But first, what happens is the paperwork that they're waiting to be submitted has got to be completed first.
Okay, but we haven't submitted to the federal
That's
yet.
correct.
Okay.
Most of it has. There's about, I think maybe 60 or 70% of it's done. We're waiting for the balance.
All right, thank you.
And it's standard under all the other policies, the flood is not covered unless you have, right? Yeah.
No.
Now what I'll do, I'll contact Scott. I'll have him prepare that, and I'll have a copy for everybody tomorrow.
Thank you. And you'll let him know the outcome of tonight, correct? You'll let him know what happened tonight?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel and litigation.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?